First night of Hanukkah, Bondi Beach. 1,000 people celebrating under Australia's summer sky. At 6:47 p.m., two figures appear on a pedestrian bridge, rifles in hand, 50 shots in minutes. An ordinary family transforms into a killing machine. ISIS flags in the car, homemade explosives ready, a secret trip to the Philippines weeks earlier, and a contradiction that defies logic. They told their family they were going fishing. December 14th, 2025, as summer sun still warms the sand at Bondi Beach, Sydney's Jewish community prepares for the year's most anticipated celebration. Chanukah by the Sea has been the crown jewel for decades, drawing thousands of families to Archer Park, just east of the iconic Bondi Pavilion. The event kicks off at 5:30 in the afternoon. Families arrive from every corner of Sydney. Some come from the east, from affluent areas where the Jewish community has deep roots. Others from the west, from multicultural suburbs like Bonnyrigg. Curious tourists mix with locals. Children wear kippahs and Jewish-themed shirts. Mothers spread blankets on the grass. Fathers organize kids for games. The aroma of kosher food drifts through the air. There's live music, drums, laughter. The ocean glitters under December sun. The giant menorah awaits its moment. It's summer in the southern hemisphere, and the first night of Hanukkah is celebrated with warmth, beach, and community. The first candle lights at 5:30 p.m. Nearly 1,000 people fill the grass. The atmosphere is pure joy. Nobody imagines that in 77 minutes, this paradise will become hell. But at 6:47 p.m., paradise shatters. From a pedestrian bridge crossing the parking lot north of the pavilion, two men dressed in black open fire on the crowd. They're not foreign terrorists recently arrived. They're father and son. Sajid Akram, 50 years old, owner of a fruit shop in Western Sydney. Naveed Akram, 24, an unemployed bricklayer. Both residents of Bonnyrigg, a quiet, multicultural suburb. That weekend, according to what they told the family, they were heading to Jervis Bay for fishing. In less than 3 minutes, they fired nearly 50 rounds, semi-automatic rifles, some bolt action. Sajid leaves the bridge and approaches the crowd to shoot at close range. Naveed stays above, dominating the train. Families run in all directions. Mothers shield their children with their bodies. The elderly fall on the grass. Rabbi Eli Schlanger, event organizer, father of 5, London-born, Shabbat emissary for 18 years, dies under fire while trying to protect others. He'd arrived early that afternoon to check every detail of the event. He reviewed the sound, the menorah's position, the table layout. It was his passion. Now he lies on the grass he himself prepared for the celebration. Rabbi Yaakov Levitan, 39, general manager of Chabad Bondi and secretary of the Sydney Beth Din, the rabbinical court, falls beside him. Levitan was known for his quiet dedication, his tireless work distributing tefillin as a sacred act of service. Alex Kleitman, 87, Holocaust survivor, born in Ukraine, uses his body as a shield to protect his wife Larissa. He'd survived the Nazis. He'd come to Australia seeking peace. He had 2 children and 11 grandchildren. Every year he celebrated Hanukkah at Bondi with his entire family. This year will be no different, he'd said that morning. He dies trying to protect the woman he loved for decades. Matilda, 10 years old, the youngest victim, doesn't make it out. Her name will become a symbol of the price children pay for adult hatred. Dan Elkayam, 27, French footballer, recently arrived in Australia, player for Rockdale Linden FC, described by his club as extremely talented and popular, dies in the park. He'd come to Australia seeking new opportunities. He found death on a summer beach. Tibor Weitzen, 78, Israeli grandfather, known in the community as the Lollipop Man for his habit of handing out candy to children, protects others and falls under the bullets. His grandson, an emergency responder, will identify him at the scene. Peter Meager, known as Marceau, former police officer turned freelance photographer, volunteer at Randwick Rugby Club for decades, documents the celebration until a bullet finds him. He'd served on the force for years. He knew danger. This time, danger found him. Reuven Morrison, a Melbourne businessman, beloved member of the Chabad community, originally from the USSR, splits his time between two cities. Video from the attack shows him heroically making himself a visible target so others can escape. Marika Pagani, 82, Slovak citizen, dedicated volunteer in her Jewish community, recognized in 2022 for delivering 12,000 kosher meals over 2 decades through Meals on Wheels, dies on the beach she loved so much. 15 civilians murdered, 42 wounded, 5 critically, 2 police officers also injured. Australia, a country that's gone almost 30 years without a mass shooting of this magnitude, wakes to a nightmare it thought buried since Port Arthur in 1996. But there's something else, something nobody saw coming. In the midst of chaos, an unarmed man crouches behind a parked car. Ahmed Al-Ahmed, 43, fruit shop owner from Sutherland Shire, Syrian Muslim, father of 2 girls. He was having coffee with a friend when the shots began. His instinct isn't to run, it's to advance. He lunges from behind at Naveed, who's just fired. They grapple for seconds that feel eternal. Ahmed rips the rifle from his hands. Naveed retreats toward the bridge where his father continues firing. Ahmed places the weapon against a tree, raises his hands in surrender to arriving police. In that instant, Sajid shoots him twice from the bridge. Ahmed falls, wounded in the arm and hand. The bullets pierce his shoulder. Later it's discovered he took 4 or 5 hits. Police arrive within minutes. The gunfight intensifies. Sajid Akram falls dead on the bridge, struck by officers' bullets. Naveed, gravely wounded, is subdued and taken to hospital under police custody. The beach becomes a crime scene. Bomb disposal teams examine the attacker's vehicle. They find 2 improvised explosive devices, 2 homemade ISIS flags, and 6 firearms, all legally registered to Sajid Akram, who'd held a recreational hunting license since 2015. That night, as Australia processes the horror, questions emerge that nobody can answer. How does a fruit shop owner who lived 25 years in the country without incidents become a terrorist? How does a young man born and raised in Australia, educated in local Islamic institutes, decide to massacre his neighbors? And why, if ASIO investigated them in 2019 and concluded they posed no threat, did nobody detect the radicalization that led them to Bondi Beach? The answer begins 4 weeks earlier, in a place 7,000 kilometers away, in the jungles of the southern Philippines. To understand December 14th, we need to go back 2 years, to October 7, 2023. When Hamas attacks Israel, killing 1,200 people, the conflict doesn't stay in the Middle East. It replicates on the streets of Melbourne, Sydney, London, Paris, New York. In Australia, the spark ignites a fire that still hasn't gone out. 2 days after the Hamas attack, 1,000 pro-Palestinian protesters marched toward the Sydney Opera House, lit in blue and white in solidarity with Israel. Among the chants, some shout, "Fuck the Jews" and "Where are the Jews?" Witnesses report even more chilling slogans like, "Gas the Jews," though this is disputed. Police advise the Jewish community to stay away. It's just the beginning. In the 16 months that follow, Australia records historic levels of anti-Semitic incidents. The Executive Council of Australian Jury documents 2,062 cases between October 2023 and September 2024. Nearly 5 times the annual average before October 7th. Incidents range from graffiti on walls to violent attacks. In February 2024, anti-Zionist activists infiltrate a private WhatsApp thread of more than 600 Australian Jewish creatives and academics, leaking their personal data and contacts. In July, pro-Palestinian protesters attack an Israeli restaurant in Sydney, throwing chairs, breaking glass doors, shouting anti-Semitic insults. The owner, ironically, worked with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, distributing aid. In October, Ed Halmagi's Bakery, a TV chef's place, wakes to an inverted red triangle painted on the window. It's the symbol Hamas uses to mark targets. Under the door, a message, "Be careful." Since then, the bakery, famous for its bagels, matzah balls, and babka, is regularly attacked. The following year, the figure drops to 1,654, but attacks become more violent. It's no longer just graffiti. Now it's firebombs, death threats, coordinated attacks. In December 2024, the historic Adas Israel Synagogue in Melbourne is attacked with Molotov cocktails at 4 in the morning, while congregants celebrate morning service. Flames consume part of the building. One person is injured. The community flees in panic. Months later, the Australian Federal Police confirm what many suspected. The attack was coordinated from Tehran. Iran's Revolutionary Guard directed at least 2 fire attacks in Australia, including one against a Jewish business in Sydney. In August 2025, the government takes an unprecedented measure. It expels Iranian ambassador Ahmad Sadeghi and 3 other officials. It's a radical political statement, but the damage is already done. But Iran isn't the only player. Anti-Semitism expands organically, fueled by the Gaza war, social media polarization, and authorities' inability to stop the escalation. In August 2024, Mike Burgess, Director General of ASIO, Australia's domestic intelligence agency, raises the country's terrorism threat level from possible to probable. His justification: community tensions and political violence related to the Gaza war. Burgess declares that his #1 priority in terms of threat to life is anti-Semitism. In November, police discover a caravan loaded with explosives in a Sydney suburb. The target, the Jewish community. The attack is thwarted in time. Australia's Jewish community, 117,000 people in a country of 28 million, lives on high alert. Jewish children avoid wearing school uniforms on public transport. Parents request police protection at synagogues. Anthony Albanese's government appoints Gillian Siegel as special envoy to combat anti-Semitism in July 2024. Months later, a special counterterrorism force, Operation Avalite, is created, dedicated exclusively to investigating anti-Semitic threats. But the measures seem late. The conservative opposition accuses the government of not acting forcefully enough. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu writes a letter to Albanese in August warning that Australia's policies are pouring oil on the fire of anti-Semitism. He's referring to Australia's recognition of possible Palestinian statehood. The tension is palpable, but nobody expects the next attack won't come from a foreigner radicalized abroad, but from an ordinary Australian family, a family that sells fruit, that attends Quran classes, that never raised real suspicions. Sajid Akram arrives in Australia in 1998 on a student visa. In 2001, he gets a partner visa. His wife, Verena, is of Italian descent. Sajid, according to some sources, is of Indian ancestry, though he traveled to the Philippines in November 2025 with an Indian passport. Other reports suggest Pakistani origin. Authorities don't publicly confirm his exact nationality. What is confirmed is that he lived in Australia for 25 years without incidents. He left the country only 3 times, always returned, never on terrorist watch lists. In 2015, he applies for and obtains a firearms license for recreational hunting. He's a member of a shooting club. He owns 6 weapons, all legal, all registered. Nobody questions his eligibility. His son Naveed is born in Australia. He grows up in Bondi Beach, a suburb where families of multiple backgrounds coexist. It's a working-class neighborhood, far from the glamour of the eastern beaches. Modest houses, neighborhood shops, mosques, churches, temples. Naveed attends local schools. He's quiet, according to neighbors. Doesn't cause trouble, doesn't get into fights. He studies at local Islamic institutes. In 2019, he enrolls at the Al Murad Institute for Quran recitation and Arabic language classes. His teacher, Sheikh Adam Ismail, remembers Naveed as a diligent student who continues lessons for a year. On social media, a 2022 photo shows the teacher congratulating Naveed for completing the Iqra book and perfecting Tajweed rules, correct Quranic pronunciation. Nothing in his public conduct suggests extremism. He's just another young Muslim in a city full of young Muslims. After finishing school, Naveed works as a bricklayer. It's hard physical work, but it pays the bills. He lives with his parents in Bondi Beach alongside his younger siblings, a 22-year-old sister and a 20-year-old brother. The family seems normal in every sense. They attend the local mosque, they celebrate Ramadan, they maintain ties with the Pakistani community. Sajid sells fruits and vegetables in his shop. Verena cares for her elderly mother. The kids come and go. They're just another suburban family among millions. But in 2019, ACO opens an investigation into Naveed, not because he's committed any crime, but because he has close ties with an ISIS cell in Sydney. Someone flags him. Maybe it's an informant. Maybe it signals intelligence. The investigation lasts 6 months. ACO agents watch him, monitor his communications, interview associates. They're looking for concrete evidence of radicalization, of planning, of intent to commit violence. But Naveed is careful, or perhaps he's genuinely not radicalized yet. The assessment comes back. No active threat. No evidence he's planning violence. The case closes. Naveed disappears from the intelligence radar. The file gets archived. Nobody follows up. Years later, this decision will be scrutinized endlessly. Was it a failure? Or just the reality of intelligence work where thousands of leads turn into nothing and resources are finite? What nobody detects is the silent radicalization process. Naveed doesn't post manifestos on social media, doesn't attend known radical mosques, doesn't join visible extremist groups. His mother, Verena, describes him as a good boy who doesn't go out, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't mix with bad company. He recently lost his job as a bricklayer. He lives with his parents and 2 younger siblings. From the outside, he's just another unemployed young man in an expensive city. But something shifts in the months before the attack. Sajid and Naveed start planning. It's not a spontaneous burst of rage. It's methodical, coordinated. On November 1st, 2020, father and son board a flight to Manila. They tell the family they're going to Jervis Bay, a popular coastal area between Sydney and Canberra, for a fishing weekend. In reality, they're heading to Davao, a city on Mindanao Island in the southern Philippines. Mindanao isn't a casual tourist destination. It's the epicenter of Islamic extremist groups in Southeast Asia. Since the 90s, Mindanao has housed terrorist training camps. Abu Sayyaf, an ISIS-affiliated group, operates in the region. So does the Maute group, rebranded as the Islamic State in Lanao after pledging allegiance to ISIS in 2015. In 2017, these groups captured the city of Marawi in a brutal siege that lasted months. 350,000 people fled before Philippine forces regained control. Since then, the groups have weakened, but not disappeared. They operate in scattered cells in Mindanao's rural areas, and they still train fighters. According to Australian counter-terrorism sources, Sajid and Naveed received military-style training during their stay. The exact location and who they met with isn't revealed. But on November 28th, less than a month after arriving, they returned to Sydney. Nobody in the family suspects anything. There are no security alerts when they cross customs. ACO doesn't flag the trip as a warning sign. Sajid has a gun license. Naveed isn't on any active watch list. Back in Australia, they rent an Airbnb in Campsie, a western Sydney suburb, in the days before the attack. There they prepare the homemade explosive devices. They make 2 ISIS flags. They gather Sajid's 6 weapons. They plan the target, the Chanukah by the Sea event at Bondi Beach, a perfect symbol. Jews celebrating in public, vulnerable families, high media visibility. And December 14th, the first night of Hanukkah, is the ideal date. The plan is simple but lethal. Get to the pedestrian bridge overlooking Archer Park. Shoot from above. If anyone tries to intervene, detonate the explosives. If police surround them, die as martyrs. There's no intention to survive. It's a suicide attack disguised as a shooting. But something goes wrong. Or rather, something goes right. A detail the Akrams didn't anticipate. Ahmed al-Ahmed. The morning of December 14th, Naveed Akram calls his mother. He tells her he's in Jervis Bay, that he just went swimming, that he went scuba diving, that it's very hot, that they'll stay home the rest of the day. Verena, his mother, has no reason to doubt. Sajid and Naveed have lied naturally for weeks. The family doesn't know they're in Campsie, finalizing preparations. Meanwhile, at Bondi Beach, Sydney's Jewish community converges on Archer Park. The Chanukah by the Sea event has been tradition for decades. Organized by Chabad of Bondi, led by Rabbi Yehoram Ullman and his wife Shterny, the institution's founders. This year, Rabbi Eli Schlanger, the Ullman's son-in-law, is the main coordinator. Schlanger, 41, father of 5, London-born, has been a Shabbat emissary in Australia for 18 years. He's a chaplain, spiritual counselor, beloved community figure. That day, he checks every detail. The stage is ready. The giant menorah waits to be lit. There's live music, games for kids, kosher food. Over 1,000 people are expected. At 5:30 p.m., the first candle lights. Families applaud. Children run across the grass. Summer sun shines over the ocean. Bondi Beach, one of Australia's most recognizable icons, fills with joy. Tourists and locals mix on the beach. Some curious onlookers approach the event, drawn by the music. Ahmed Al-Ahmed, 43, is having coffee with a friend near the pavilion. Ahmed arrived in Australia in 2006 from Syria, part of the wave of migrants seeking safety and opportunity in a country known for welcoming refugees. His parents, Mohammed Fateh and Malakeh Hassan, made the difficult journey to Sydney just months ago, finally reuniting with their son after years of separation. Ahmed is an Australian citizen. He's built a life here. He has 2 young daughters, 3 and 6 years old, who attend local schools and dream in English. He owns a fruit shop in Sutherland Shire, like Sajid Akram. The irony isn't lost on anyone later. 2 fruit sellers, both immigrants, both Muslims. One becomes a terrorist, the other a hero. According to his family, he served in Syria's security forces before emigrating, though the specifics remain unclear. He has no firearms experience in Australia. He's never been in trouble, never sought the spotlight. He's just a man enjoying Sunday afternoon at Bondi, watching the family celebrate, probably thinking about his own daughters at home. At 6:47 p.m., everything changes. Sajid and Naveed Akram reach the pedestrian bridge connecting Campbell Parade with the pavilion's north parking lot. They're dressed in black. Each carries rifles. Sajid has at least 2 weapons. Naveed has a bolt-action rifle. They position themselves on the bridge, overlooking the park from above. The distance is short. The crowd is exposed. There's no cover. Naveed fires first. 4 shots in 5 seconds. Verified video shows his weapon proficiency. He's no novice. Sajid opens fire from the other end of the bridge. The shots sound like firecrackers at first. Some think they're fireworks. But when people start falling, panic erupts. Families run toward the beach. Mothers drag their children. The elderly stumble on the grass. Rabbi Schlanger tries to protect others. He falls within seconds. Rabbi Yaakov Levitan, Chabad Bondi's general manager, dies beside him. Alex Klateman, Holocaust survivor, uses his body as a shield for his wife. Bullets pierce him. Matilda, 10 years old, has no time to run. Tibor Weitzen, the lollipop man, stands between the attackers and a group of children. He dies on his feet. Dan El-Kayem, French footballer, falls on the grass. Peter Maher, photographer, is hit while documenting the scene. Reuven Morrison becomes a visible target so others can escape. Marika Pagani falls near the menorah she just watched being lit. The shooting continues. 50 bullets total. Sajid comes down from the bridge and approaches the crowd. He shoots at close range. Naveed stays above, covering his father. The coordination is evident. They're executing a plan, but Ahmed Al-Ahmed doesn't run. He watches from his position. He sees Naveed on the bridge, shooting. He sees people falling. He sees children running. He sees blood on the grass. He sees shattered families. And in that instant, something activates in his memory. The years in Syria's security forces, the training, the instinct to protect. His conscience, his father will later say, pushes him to act. He doesn't think about his own daughters, doesn't think about his wife, doesn't think about consequences. He only thinks about stopping the horror. He crouches behind a parked car. His heart races. The gunfire is deafening. Sirens wail in the distance. But police haven't arrived yet. And meanwhile, people keep dying. Ahmed waits for the moment. Naveed reloads. It's his chance. Ahmed lunges, runs toward the bridge. His feet pound the pavement. He reaches Naveed from behind, just as the attacker aims at the crowd again. Ahmed grabs his neck hard. Naveed startles, tries to turn, retain the rifle. But Ahmed is stronger, more determined. They grapple for eternal seconds, the rifle between them, the metal hot from firing. Ahmed twists the weapon, rips it away violently. Naveed loses balance, retreats. Ahmed now has the rifle. He aims it at Naveed. The attacker, surprised, falls, gets up, retreats toward his father at the other end of the bridge. Ahmed could shoot, could end Naveed right there, but he doesn't. Instead, he walks to a tree and places the rifle against the trunk. Raises his hands, showing approaching police he's not a threat. In that instant, Sajid Akram sees what happened. His son is unarmed. From the bridge, he fires toward Ahmed. 1 bullet, 2 bullets. Ahmed feels the impact in his shoulder, the arm, the hand. The pain is immediate. He falls, but doesn't lose consciousness. Later, it's confirmed he took 4 to 5 shots. Some bullets remain lodged in his body. He'll need multiple surgeries. But Ahmed survives, and his intervention changes everything. Naveed no longer has a weapon. Sajid is alone. Police arrive. The end is near. The first New South Wales police officers arrive within minutes. Response time is exceptional. Officers had been patrolling nearby for the event, standard procedure for large public gatherings, but nothing prepares them for this. The shooting hasn't ended. Sajid Akram is on the bridge, firing at the crowd and at officers. He has high ground, tactical advantage, multiple weapons. Naveed, disarmed by Ahmed, tries to reposition near his father. The attackers are coordinated, disciplined, trained. This isn't amateur hour. Police deploy rapidly. Some establish a perimeter, shepherding terrified families to safety. Others take positions behind vehicles, preparing to engage. The tactical response unit is en route but hasn't arrived. These first officers are general duties, cops suddenly thrust into a combat situation. The firefight is brief but intense. Sajid fires at the agents. Muzzle flashes light up the bridge. Officers return fire with precision. They're trained for this but rarely face it. 1 bullet, then another, finds its mark. A police round hits Sajid's center mass. He staggers, falls on the bridge. Officers advance cautiously, weapons trained. Sajid doesn't move. He's dead. Naveed, wounded in the exchange, possibly by police fire, possibly by his father's wild shooting, tries to retreat. Blood streams from his wounds. Police surround him. He falls to the ground. Officers handcuff him while paramedics rush forward. Naveed is breathing but gravely wounded. They load him onto a stretcher, rush him to St. George Hospital under armed guard. 2 officers also took hits in the firefight, thankfully non-life-threatening. They'll recover, but they'll never forget. The beach becomes a war zone. Sirens wail across Bondi. Helicopters circle. Ambulances transport the wounded. Bomb disposal teams examine the Akram's vehicle. They find 2 explosive devices. Technicians neutralize them. Inside are 2 homemade ISIS flags. Forensics recovers 6 weapons, all registered to Sajid Akram. At 7:30 p.m., Police Commissioner Mal Lanyon declares the incident a terrorist attack. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is immediately informed. He convenes a National Security Council meeting that same night. At 9:00 p.m., Albanese appears before cameras. His face reflects the moment's gravity. This is a targeted attack on Jewish Australians on the first day of Hanukkah, which should be a day of joy, he says. It is an act of pure evil. It is anti-Semitism. It is terrorism that has struck at the heart of our nation. While Albanese speaks, police teams raid the Akram's house in Bonnyrigg. They break down the door, search every room, confiscate computers, phones, documents. Naveed's mother, Verena, is in shock. She tells officers her son is a good boy, that he doesn't have weapons, doesn't go out, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't go to bad places. She can't believe her son is involved. The next day, another police team raids the Campsie Airbnb the Akrams rented days before. They find more weapons, evidence of explosive manufacturing, planning traces. At the hospital, Ahmed Al-Ahmed undergoes emergency surgery. Bullets have shattered his shoulder and arm. Some remain lodged in his body. Surgeons work for hours. Ahmed survives. When he wakes, New South Wales Premier Chris Minns is at his bedside. Last night, your incredible bravery undoubtedly saved countless lives when you disarmed a terrorist at enormous personal risk, Minns tells him. You are a true hero. There is no doubt that more lives would have been lost if not for your selfless courage. Images of Ahmed disarming Naveed go viral. Tens of millions of views within hours. U.S. President Donald Trump praises him at a White House event. "I have great respect for that man," Trump says. "A very, very brave person. He saved many lives." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also acknowledges him. "We saw an action of a brave man, turns out a Muslim brave man, and I salute him, who stopped one of these terrorists from killing innocent Jews." A GoFundMe campaign raises over $1 million Australian dollars in 24 hours. Billionaire Bill Ackman donates $99,999. But Ahmed's heroism doesn't erase the horror. 15 dead civilians, 42 wounded, 5 critical, shattered families, a traumatized community. Australia wakes to a question nobody wants to face. How did we get here? December 15th, Australia wakes in mourning. Flags fly at half-mast. Thousands bring flowers to Bondi Beach. Roses, carnations, sunflowers. Candles form a sea of light. Messages cover the fences. "We stand with you. Hate will not win." Shalom from a Muslim neighbor. Jews, Muslims, Christians, atheists, all gather in silence. There are no divisions in grief. The beach that was a horror scene transforms into a memorial. Violence tried to divide. Mourning unites. But mourning doesn't hide the exposed cracks. Australia's Jewish community spent 2 years warning about escalation. 2,062 incidents between October 2023 and September 2024. 1,654 the following year. Before October 7th, annual numbers were in the low hundreds. Now they're thousands. Attacked synagogues, vandalized homes, threatened schools, Jewish children avoiding uniforms on public transport, and authorities responded late. We've seen every kind of exclusion, abuse, attack, harassment, threats, fire bombings, burning of synagogues, says Alex Rivchin, co-CEO of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry. This country has fundamentally changed in 2 years, and it culminated now on the beach. Albanese's government promises action, announces tightening of gun control laws, though Australia already has some of the world's strictest, proposes creating a national hate crimes and incidents database, promises to implement all recommendations from the Special Envoy against anti-Semitism, but the conservative opposition demands more. Leader Peter Dutton accuses the government of failing to protect the Jewish community. Netanyahu reiterates his criticism. Australia's policies, he says, have poured oil on the fire. While politicians debate, investigators reconstruct the Akram's path. Every puzzle piece reveals the same thing: silent radicalization, ignored signals, an intelligence system that failed to connect dots. Naveed was investigated by ASIO in 2019. He was found to have ties with an ISIS cell in Sydney. But the conclusion was he posed no threat. 6 years later, he executes Australia's worst terrorist attack in nearly 3 decades. The Philippines trip in November is the breaking point. Sajid and Naveed spend nearly 4 weeks in Mindanao, receiving military training from ISIS-affiliated groups. They learn to use weapons with precision. Verified video shows Naveed firing 4 shots in 5 seconds with a bolt-action rifle. That's not luck, that's training. They return to Australia on November 28th. Nobody at customs detects warning signs. No alerts, no monitoring. 2 weeks later, they attack Bondi Beach. The question haunting Australia is simple but devastating. Could it have been prevented? ASIO argues there was no intelligence failure. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke says that after the 2019 investigation, there was a radical change in that individual's risk profile. But that radical change never triggered new surveillance. Sajid was never on the radar. Naveed disappeared from lists, and when both traveled to a known terrorist training hub, nobody noticed. At the hospital, Naveed Akram regains consciousness days after the attack. He's under permanent police custody, faces terrorism and multiple homicide charges. If he survives, he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. But for the 15 families who lost loved ones, no sentence returns what was taken. Eli Schlanger won't see his 5 children grow. Alex Klaitman won't celebrate more Hanukkahs with his wife Larissa. Matilda won't turn 11. Dan El-Kayem won't play another football match. Tibor Weitzen won't hand out more candy to neighborhood children. Bondi Beach reopens to the public a week later. Life goes on because life always goes on. But something broke that December 14th. The illusion that Australia, by its geographic distance, could be safe from global extremism. The belief that multiculturalism and tolerance were enough to prevent hatred. The confidence that the intelligence system would detect threats before they materialized. Ahmed al-Ahmed, the Muslim hero who saved Jewish lives, becomes a symbol of what Australia wants to be. A place where humanity transcends differences. But the acronyms represent the lurking shadow. Radicalization hidden in ordinary homes. Extremism that doesn't need a foreign passport to flourish. Hatred that grows in silence until it explodes on a beach full of families. In cities worldwide, Hanukkah celebrations continue under heightened security. In New York, Berlin, London, Paris, police reinforce vigilance at Jewish events. Bondi Beach becomes a global warning. Nowhere is safe. No community is exempt. Anti-Semitism, fueled by distant conflicts and amplified by social media, crosses oceans and borders as easily as a father and son cross a bridge to shoot at children. Australia seeks answers, but the uncomfortable truth is there's no simple answer. Extremism is a hydra. Cutting off one head doesn't stop others from growing. As long as there are individuals willing to kill for ideologies, as long as there are networks that train and inspire them, as long as hatred exists as a driving force, there will be more Bondis, more beaches, more synagogues, more schools, more events that should be celebrations and become massacres. The sun still rises over Bondi Beach. Waves still break on the sand. But for those who were there that night, the ocean no longer sounds the same. Summer no longer feels the same. And the first Hanukkah candle, meant to illuminate darkness, only reminds us how deep that darkness can be when hatred pulls the trigger.